day, peacemakers. Happy holy day. Hope everyone enjoying their holy day. Welcome to World Temple, Branch Temple number 24, or the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may learn to love instead of hate. Come and link yourself with the family of nations by clicking that block of words at the top that says World Temple. Click the block of words. Go ahead and click join. Also click the bell notification. That way you can join us here every Friday and Sunday for newcomers gathering. We're going to get started here today with our divine supplication. True peace. All right, y'all, so let's jump right on into it. As you know, we begin our prayers and thinking by using the O Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds, we do accept the duty you have laid on us to clean up the filth made by the West and its non-submitting fools. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us to control the streams of the courses of our lives. Our sustainer, and if we do wrong, please show our divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us true followers of the news bearers. In thy name, we carry on. Right, y'all, so we're gonna jump right into our 19 affirmations for the day, which, as we say here every week, you should be reading this with your family. Read these 19 affirmations with your family. They're very powerful. Y'all, so let's jump right into it. These affirmations are called the daily affirmation of loyalty of the children of the Elohim, and what we accept as fact. And as it states, we accept as fact the eternal laws of nature as revealed through science, past events. Past events, logic, and common sense, revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept this fact the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept this fact our way of life is a means to the best end. We accept this fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept this fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept this fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances. And the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, cooperation, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that all worthwhile cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Kamite Egyptians and the Anunnaki or Elohims from the heavens, without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need first of all a revolution of values and thoughts, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, your hell, your hellfire and brimstones, your horned and pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on the throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the facts. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty, and this wars fall within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation. We're all involved. We accept this fact, the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth, that is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race's biological and cultural heritage is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race in racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all as one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. All right, y'all. So we're going to jump right into our Moorish prayer. Divine Constitution and bylaws as well. And get started for this week. All right. So y'all know how it goes. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east. Feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, noble Ju'ali. Amen. All right, y'all, so we're going to jump right into the Divine Constitution. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779. It lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Ju'ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 47. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Joe Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah. All right, y'all. So we're gonna jump into this week's weekly readings. And get it started for this week. True peace. Get rid of mosquitoes. They infested. So we're going to jump into this week's weekly reading. All right. Every week we kick off our weekly readings with chapter 25 of the Circle 7 Holy Qur'an, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. Jump right into it. All right, y'all. And as it reads, ye are the children of one father provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given you suck. Let the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other. All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and move forward to chapter 47 and 48. Love, true peace, freedom, and justice is the precursor principle that we should all live by. So we're going to jump right into chapter 47, called Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. And it reads, the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanite the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family was second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the Dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the Father and the Son. The Dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and all the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sovereign from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile westward across the Great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descending to the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There's no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Noble Ali, the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. The Prophet Noble Ali was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America, who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father, and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. Islam. And you can include other words like Negro, American Indian, etc. in that pot too as well. True peace, brother Jonathan. I see you. I'm gonna bring you up to the top. Happy holiday day. Peace, peace, Noble.
Peace. Greetings today.
I couldn't hear you at first. Now I can.
You're able to hear me? I just got these new Bluetooth headpieces, whatnot, so
I got you.
I don't know if it works that well.
Well, now Bluetooth and Clubhouse don't kind of mix. I don't think you was here for the issue we had before. Like when you using your Bluetooth, it cancel other people out in the room, or it causes like audio problems here on the app.
I wonder
I didn't know
like
you.
that kind of Bluetooth might, like different Bluetooth signals might make a difference too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, because more than one person had their Bluetooth on. I think that's all it was. But I know from what I do know, it is kind of better to kind of use like regular earphones or just use your speaker. But we're gonna jump right into chapter 48 for this week's weekly reading, called "The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophecy." And it reads, "The last prophet in these days is Noble Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways, and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days, to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name, Noble Ali. who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old time religion and the everlasting gospels to the sons of men, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own and be one with their Father God Allah. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, DC, that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man under love, true peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly and divine salvation. For their earthly salvation. While we Moorish Americans are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earthland, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed that you will learn to love instead of hate. We're trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and jump into this week's meeting service. It's only me and Brother Jonathan here, so I think no one else want to speak tonight. Come on and do their 15 minutes. We're going to dive right into tonight's message. Bad out here. Like we have best station. Oh, we're going to jump into the message for tonight. Get into it. Right, y'all. So, like I said, I hope everyone's enjoying the holy day that's coming in and listening to the replay. Get into the mission for tonight. So I'm going to pull up some literature from the Prophet.
bugs in Texas.
Palmetto? What's that?
It's like the flying cockroach looking thing. They be in Florida because it's like humid, but they can fly. They're pretty freaky.
Cockroach bug?
Well, they're a palmetto bug. That's what they're technically called. But they look like a cockroach, but they're technically not because they can fly. You know what I mean? So it's just everybody kind of calls it that, even though it's technically a palmetto bug. I don't know. I thought they might be in Texas because that's kind of close to Florida. It's kind of across the Gulf of Mexico there.
Yeah, we got mosquitoes real bad out there. I don't know, it's like infestation going on right now, I know for sure. They are like everywhere. I think I got swarmed by them just a second ago. I had to put on my jacket just to sit outside. It's crazy. But we're gonna jump into tonight's message. Right to it. Yeah, so you hear me clapping, I clap. They just all over the place over here. One of them hit me in the face a few moments ago, like 10 minutes ago. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in, though. Don't get distracted by these mosquitoes. All right, so I'm gonna dive into this first piece of literature called "Dedicated to the Sons of Men." Because I know you hear me state it all the time, but what does it exactly mean coming from vision in the eyes of the prophet? We're gonna dive into that. We're gonna dive into that now. And it states, the Mexim, the land of our fathers, the land where the gods loved to dwell, the birthplace of the ancient Egypt land, where civilization first saw the light of day. Now, since man has left his first religion, he has been suffering from a complex disease which in some way takes hold of his passions and desires. The misdirection of his brain causes him to become a living monster. He is a slave to his lower self. No scientist nor doctor have been able to find anything to effect the cure until the coming of Prophet Ali, who comes from the east, bringing the light of the new day, the Moorish divine movement built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the salvation for the nation. In the liberation of nations, no consideration is given to a people who are not of a nation. In 1774, the Europeans of this country took the birthrights away from the people whom they forced under bondage. They were not slaves, they were bound free men. The subsequent generation who followed them in this bondage were slaves because their minds had been subjugated to a European psychology. They were branded with the name Negro and separated from the illustrious history of their forefathers, who were the founders of the first civilization. So, this is who affectionately the prophet is referring to as the sons of man. Those that are of God. Who would the gods be? Who would these gods be? Who would these deities be? We affectionately know them as the gods of Egypt, Sumeria, Lemuria, Atlantis, etc. So a lot of the text that we read, and as the prophet mentioned, even Egypt land, a lot of the text that we read affectionately refers to these deities, these gods, these Elohims, these angelic beings that incarnate in the flesh. Even in the one-on-ones where it talks about what is an angel? An angel is a thought of Allah. An angel is a thought of Allah. Right, so we're gonna dive into next piece of literature I want to put emphasis tonight, which is called Our Dollars and Cents. And it reads, the doctrine of economic security is by no means as widespread and intensive among Americans of our group as the circumstances demand. And the more written and said on the subject, the better. We need to more earnestly urge conscientious support of the businessmen and women of our group in their chosen fields of endeavor. The greater the success of their business enterprises, the more open gates of opportunity there will be for our youth today and tomorrow. Think of this fact. We need to urge that our businessmen and women build on the principles of service. We need to urge greater cooperation among them to render courteous, honest, and efficient service to the buying public. They should not expect any support and patronage merely on the grounds that they are race men and women in business, but for the reasons that the service and quality of their good and products they sell are equal in value to the service and merchandise offered to the buying public by any other business people. There should be maintained a cooperative spirit among our businessmen and women to keep their business places as clean and sanitary as any similar places in any other section of the city. Citizens of our group should cultivate a sound vision when it comes to the necessity of buying professional service, merchandise, provision, etc. We should look beyond the direct result and object for which we invest our money. We should lose sight of the mere fact that we receive a dollar's worth for a dollar spent. We should keep firmly in mind the necessity of keeping each dollar spent as much as possible within the spheres of our own activities, where they will create further openings of business enterprises and wider opportunities for the men and women of our group to procure soundly remunerative employment. Forward must be the watchword of the seller and buyer alike. We make the money and we spend the cash. Let us sincerely cooperate with the other. Our plight will change when we change ourselves. All right, so I'm reiterating this literature from the prophet here tonight because we have to understand that the prophet called for us to be industrial people. We was called to be industrious people. And to get to that point to where we can uplift a nation through our economic and currently at the moment there's things that are being done by me and fellow members in the temple that will help the help the community, help the congregation, help the divine movement. So when it comes to us understanding the power of creating, participating in that cooperative spirit, which takes you back to our civics and how we understand civics as a people, community, as a congregation, and why these things are important or of importance. So when it comes to setting up and owning and operating businesses, a lot of the principles that we look for are in those gospels. But first, we have to make sure we know what we're doing when it comes to managing, operating, owning business. A lot of us do not really get the basics of why it's important to have the skill set in economics and understanding the legal ramifications that go into operating, owning, and managing a business. Especially with starting a business and continuing to maintenance the business. There's a lot in the scriptures that talk about being managers and caretakers, which we spoke about here before. But mainly, what I want to touch on tonight is opening up the business with the spirit of doing service for your community, for your people. Managing the business in the spirit of passing on a legacy to your community, to your family, and then your community. Maintaining that legacy through the community for generations. Now, we can talk about the wealth gap and all those things that are here upon us. We can go into a lot of detail about the gap between Moorish people, melanated people, and so white people, which does have to disenfranchise another like read about. But it's also upon ourselves because we fight among another when it comes to setting business. tear each other down when it comes to structuring enterprises that our people want to curate. We're the first ones to tear them down instead of lifting them up. The prophet says, in connection with our religious aims and beliefs, we must promote economic security. The preaching of economic security among us is by no means as widespread and intensive as the circumstances demand. No other one thing is more needed among us at this time than greater economic power, better positions for our men and women, more business employment for our boys and girls, and bigger incomes will follow our economic security. We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. A beggar people cannot develop the highest in them, nor can they attain to a genuine enjoyment of the spiritualities of life. The prophet continues on to say, our men, women, and children should be taught to believe in the capacity of our group to succeed in business. In spite of the trials and failures of some of them, trials and failures in business are by no means confined to any group of people. Some business ventures of all people fail. We have many men and women among our people who are qualified, both by training and experience, who are shining lights in the business world of all the people. It is a sad weakness in us as a people that we have withheld the very encouragement, support, and patronage that would have made some of our worthy business ventures a grand success. And worst of all, have joined in the condemnations of them when they fail, except in cases of actual dishonesty, discourtesy, lack of service, and actual unreliability. And our business enterprise in every field of endeavor should have loyal of confident cooperation, patronage, whenever and wherever they can be given. The prophet says, in conclusion, I urge you to remember there's work enough for all to do in helping to build a better world. Problems of life are largely social, economic. In a profound sense, they are moral, spiritual. Have lofty conceptions of your duties to the country and fellow men in general, and especially with those whom you deal. This includes such honesty and righteousness as will cause you to put yourself in the other fellow. So there's a spiritual essence to doing business and creating economic means for yourself, people, for yourself as a community. So when it comes to going and registering, getting your LLC, getting you a registered agent, please don't burn. Thank you, brother. Happy holiday. So when it comes to you getting an LLC and setting up your business, and continue to manage that business through the company articles, charge orders, bylaws, especially the minutes, because a lot of people get told to go rush out and get them an LLC or S Corp, C Corp, and have no clue on how to maintenance the business, how to keep everything tracked and keeping up with the data in the business, let alone the accounting, but also the meetings and things like that that you have for the business. prophet said, give quality service. It's not just about us coming together as people of the same ethnicity, but also making sure that we have top-notch quality products and services just as the rest of the world. So there's a lot of Moorish trade posts that are out there. So we can't say it's not being done. The example is not being set, because it actually is. But if we want to take things to the next level, higher level, as we just mentioned here in the readings, literature from the prophet, then that's going to require us to understand how to have quality business products and services. So I know people running through the YouTube videos and things like that, tell them run out, get a LLC and get some funding. But it's much more responsibility that comes behind having a business, that comes behind owning and operating and controlling a business, that a lot of us are looking over, misunderstanding. And the reason why I'm going into this tonight, like I said, is because it has to be reiterated that time that we reiterated, and us as Moors got to put up, shut up. We're in a phase where we know it's the requirement amongst us as a whole divine and national movement that we be more politically active, socially active, economically active. Now, what's going to help with that is coming together to actually do business. And as I've mentioned here plenty of times before, we've started many businesses right here through the community, projects through the community, but we have to kind of grasp the fact that we got to assimilate that responsibility. We got to delegate that responsibility to not just a few in the community, but all that participate, all that gather, take up some portion of the work that needs to be done. Because that's also what you get with congregation, with the temple, with the community, is you get responsibility partners. Are you doing the work? Now, I've been doing things to get us going here. And like I said, a couple others have here as well. But those that come in also listen to the replay, feel free to reach out. Those that been here listening, y'all know that assistance is needed. But as you can see, this just don't fall on those that take up the work. This falls on those that are listening. And true peace, no.
Would I be able to interject here for a second?
Yeah. Islam. True peace.
Yeah, landed last. I think we landed last Friday, kind of on this point about the divine movement of the ages, and we've never really communicated about mapping it out, and I've been interested since I've kind of came across this whole movement in the first place in the New World Temple and whatnot. And for me, it aligned a lot with my own views on business involving technical space and apps and the social media of nature of things this day and age. And I wasn't thinking along the lines of business. I was thinking along the lines of community building. But one person in a boat in the ocean, and it can be a big ocean. It's a lot of distortions. There might be a lot of people who are around you, but they might not see the scenario or situation. And that's where I've been seeing our communications have been all over the place. And it's easy to get caught into dramas. And usually, if you go deep enough, it usually has some type of profit or security issue down the line. And so, one of the first things that brought me into this movement was listen to reason. And there's definitely a lot of people who have a lot of different reasons for the things that they do, but bringing it into a sense of purpose has been a real challenge for me, looking at, I don't really want to start a business, watching my father having a business at a young age, and him struggling with the nature of the way the economics are set up, and it's taken me years to kind of see that, a lot of life is kind of like the trade markets, candlesticks going up and down, but there's not really, there's a sense of charge there, but there's also a sense of shallow, zero-point nature to that doesn't really represent the eloquence or there's more to humanity, and we've lost sight of that, and that's why I see this as being really powerful. But I'm still trying to figure out how I would fit in, and I'm still looking at, okay, is my community going to be representing as a business? Can I split that off, or is the temple the actual community side of things? I don't have to worry about developing the community, or is the community something that can invite people into the temple through simply having links in what I'm doing on the community side of things? And then, can there be a business attached to that community, to where the community isn't really the business, but then there is a business aspect to the community, and that can evolve as I grow? If anything, I just would like to see people feel like they don't have to, go 0 to 100 and create these business models when they're still even trying to formulate the idea. Maybe they can be brainstorming with others who have that same vibe, and do it in a safe way that doesn't make you feel like you have these top-down federal pressures trying to make you feel like you're doing something wrong. We should be able to help each other feel like we're in the right and doing, walking in what is the divine manner. True peace. Thank you.
True peace, no. And I definitely resonate with the point you make. But economics is not just about building businesses from the startup stage. There's also the ability to do acquisitions on businesses, just like you would purchase shares and invest in stocks and things like that. Trading is also incorporated with that as well. I think I mentioned that last week. But when it comes to, like I was saying, those that that are listening, the responsibility falls on that individual. Now, what you choose to do is the point Noble Jonathan just brought up. That's solely individually on you yourself. But the temple, what the temple does is it gives you a jurisdiction of people of your own peers to work with to make these economic business ventures, whether you're going about trading, investing, whatever style of economics you get into. That's not really the big issue. The issue that I'm calling out is actually getting into it, taking action. Like I said, we discussed last week. Now, for each individual that's in the divine and national movement, this is why I say if we're gonna take things to the next level, then that's gonna require participation, insight from multiple people. Really, technically, as the the divine constitution calls for, is everybody should be in some form or fashion doing something industrial in the community. And that's the reason why I want to kind of focus in on that point, because when it's just a few of us versus participation from the whole entire community, beyond the distractions and things like that, because that's also a part of the listening to reason, is the economic philosophy that comes along with natural philosophy, that we, like I said, we've been implementing it even before the new innovations and the new technologies that have came about that allow us to kind of facilitate our own, not kind of, but actually fully facilitate our own economic structure system. It's going to take focus, because one point that Jonathan just made is that the communication and the conversation kind of be everywhere, and not just in the temple, but outside the temple and other different movements with their focus. When at this moment, like we just read, the focus should be on our economic security, especially as a people. So when it comes to, can you develop, as Noble Jonathan just mentioned, that's also mentioned in the prophet's literature. This is an open field to strong men and women that are here to do the work. So there's been many things that have been created alongside the movement or within the movement. Many products and services that most of them should be considered free national standard. But with the lack of unity and uniformity of communicating from different parts of the movement to different temples, it's been harder on us, and it's been more a sporadic thing when it comes to actually creating a unified front as a national community, as a national movement. So when it comes to, like I said, setting up your businesses and your LLCs and things like that, and the structure that a lot of people hear about on the internet versus things that are actually required for structuring a business, including trademarks. Didn't mention trademarks earlier, but also including your trademarks and your copyright, because those are important too. And the legal structure. All businesses don't necessarily have to be formed as a trust. They can be structured different type of structure. So a lot of that information that gets passed around to our people in the community, there needs to be a space that we have, like we mentioned here. We have this the space for current events. But this is a temple, so we're not going to too much talk about, business focused conversations. But we do want to have that time segregated so where we can open up a different room here on Clubhouse or another platform, come together and meet up and talk about economic, business, finance, things like that. As I mentioned last week, we also set up a family office, so these type of things can be structured, but they need to be, like I said, delegated, because if we constantly do things more in a sporadic way and we don't delegate powers and be of service to one another, then we're only hurting ourselves. This is why I went into the literature directly from the prophet. Because as my point was last week, you got to reach out and touch somebody's hand with this information. Like one of Noble Jonathan's points was, is he able to bring people into this? It depends on your business structure. What is your business plan? And the timeline for us to do these things, it's been set out. Now, we won't be telegraphing our moves as far as what we're developing, because a lot of people listen to our lectures, come to our temple, solicit information, and go do it amongst themselves or amongst a certain classes without actually involving the people who originated those ideas, structure, which is a lot of the reason why we have crypto platforms today. So with the ability to create the needed companies, businesses, legal structures within our community, and the opportunity to create those timelines, because each individual business is going to operate on a timeline, going to operate on fashion, etc. But when it comes to the divine plan, ages, us as a people, those timelines are laid out in the prophecies of the prophet. While we go over the prophecy here when we can, especially on Sundays every week, and dive into that. But a lot of the things that the prophet called out for have already come to fruition. Now, when it comes to us building up that community that operates on the economic cooperative spirit, the economic cooperative spirit is there, as I mentioned plenty of times here before, but the community acknowledging and being participant in that, that's what the call is for tonight. Like I said, with the transmission coming through me to touch on tonight, because we have the bodies, we have the people, and I've recently been in meetings for us establishing our own treasury, but there's a lack of, like I said, participation when it comes to not just this temple, but other temples across the divine and national movement, and us creating that unified front to where, like I said, when someone from a different temple or under a temple jurisdiction creates a business structure such as Chakra Juice is one of the companies, or the Healing Center, which is produces the chakra juice. That was established by our Grand Sheik, Noble Kenneth L. Products like that should be standard product, just like a Coca-Cola, Pepsi, etc. would be across the whole supply chain of the United States. And that's solely because of the lack of the unified movement and supporting our own, as the Prophet mentioned. So, like I say, the call is for us to understand, just like those people who have the 61, 71,000 excuses in front of them before they join the temple, can't see, but between the lines, like I read earlier, which is the reason for me reading Dedication to the Sons of Man earlier, because it tells you directly right there. This goes back to the divine, ancient and divine creed. It goes all the way back to ancient, they call ancient Egypt, not modern day Islam. This goes back to the divine creed of your ancient gods and goddesses who built civilization. Silver little viva, not silver little more too. So when it comes to whatever it is you're going to create it. And you bring people into the divine and national movement, yeah, that's the point of it being a movement. You're getting people to move, but in a more spiritual, tranquil, high vibrational way, to where they don't have to be overstimulated, etc. But for us to thrive as our own sovereign theocratic jurisdiction, we have to create economics. We have to understand the focus of economics. That's not to say everyone needs to start a business from scratch. Some need to learn trade. Some need to learn trade. Some need to learn investment. Whatever your natural calling is, because we all have different skills, bring that to the table. But we have to be able to focus. A lot of the setbacks that we've had, that I've read about this past week, has been because of the leadership in the temple in the past, and the focus and direction of that leadership. The focus of that leadership in the past, which has caused many great setbacks to us as a people, to us as a community. I just wanted to, like I say, bring that to our awareness and acknowledgement. We have to create businesses. We have to build up our businesses, our business ventures. As the prophet mentioned, that was one of the things that got, read just earlier, is support the businesses that have been established. That's going to take participation from the community. That's going to take the help and assistance of people in the community. One thing that this generation misses out on with the so-called boss mentality is, if you are a boss and you in control of your own business, because we have this so-called being out front issue, or egoism that goes behind being the one out front, being a leader, is that you have to be able to serve. You're there to serve your employees just as well as they are there to serve the company that you have established, that you are the leader of. You have to be able to serve, whether you're creating an actual service or a product. You have to be able to serve that product. You have to be able to service that service. So please understand, it's going to take for us to have dentists, lawyers, doctors, accountants, judges, law firms, accounting firms, laundromat, any type of business that you can think of. We're going to have to come together, raise capital. We can do this through other entities. We have some of them entities already established for the temple, for the congregation, for the divine and national movement. But it's going to take more of us, not just a few of us. This is why I said a lot of the whole concept of just talking about sovereign citizen movements and all those things, it gets us caught up, it gets us distracted from the actual point of understanding legal theory. Because one of the main key points is how to manage a business. You have more than one type of lawyer. You got real estate lawyers, you got business lawyers, entertainment lawyers. So the tunnel visions that we get caught up in as people, especially when it comes to focusing on our civic education and civic pride, we're really going to have to open up our mind, our thinking, and take action. This is why I say constantly, you want to be around active Moors. Active Moors. Those Moors that are active politically, especially ministers of the Royal Council. And this not just goes for this temple, this goes for all temples. This goes for all temples. And with this temple, with us having our own inherited doctrine and field of study, we definitely should have a lot of participation in reaching out and touching somebody by the hand and bringing them in, especially those that love NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, mindset coaches, lifestyle coaches, etc. That want to know about their nobility, know about their royalty. Because it's one thing to proclaim that you are a native, and then you have to go through the hard work of getting acknowledged as that royalty, as that nobility, versus being able to participate in a sovereign theocratic jurisdiction on behalf of your indigenous tribe, clan, family that already has that lawful and public acknowledgement as a sovereign body people, not in subjugation, but royal people, theocratic, royal, especially understanding the scripture. We are royal people. So I want to wake that point up with this week's message. And if you go back and look into scriptures or ancient texts, you'll see that there's mentions of real estate, business, records, events, all these things that are kept in there, kept inside the sacred, those records, those ancient documents. So this is nothing new under the sun by a long shot. But the fact remains the same that this needs to be called out. It needs to be spoken about. We do have the family office. We do have our weekly insights that we're supposed to do. We haven't got started with them just yet. But we can meet up every Monday, discuss business, discuss investments, discuss trading and economics. We got the school system that we pin here at the top of the room every week that needs to be better understood. It's going on almost 8, 9 years to where we had our own school system that's been in development for this particular branch temple.
Pardon the body?
Islam, two people.
I'm curious, is the Moorish temple in Chicago, or do you know if any of the temples have like a hostel or like a place to be able to stay if they're traveling from another country, but they have Moorish standing and you know, I think that maybe there should be a little bit more plug and play type deal, where you even have like the universities at these. I don't know if you've ever been to a hostel before, but some of them have libraries and like a lounge area. Some of them are old houses that have been converted over. I could see it being, how can this be kind of like a private and promoted way to be able to start building a movement of people who are getting together and aligning towards the higher senses and goals for each other in the world, therefore. But yeah, I was curious about that. Like, how many temples are there in the world currently, and do any of them have any type of place to stop, learn, and rest?
Islam. I'm glad you asked that, because you opened the door for my final point for tonight, which is we are the ones who created the manorial system. The Moors is the ones who established that manorial system. So the hostiles and things like that, compounds, that sort of what the Mormons do, a lot of what you find the Mormons doing today, where you can see where they get it from. Because like I said, that original manorial system was established by us Moors, and it changed politically over time as more people adapted that structure. But today, there is the Prince William colony. There's a Moorish colony over there on the East Coast. But there's not many temples that have those type of structures. Even the temple me and Noble Rahim went through chambers through, we had to stay in a hotel. So it wasn't an actual hostel. But these are the type of things that I'm actually talking about that's going to take participation of us all. commercial real estate, multifamily real estate, kind of like what Jonathan has mentioned. And this is also in the literature. The prophet said, acquire buildings to where you can have your meetings on the second floor. Just like certain special interest groups do, or fraternal orders and sororities do. They meet on the second floor, which is still something that came from us and our nobility of Moors. These mosquitoes is bad, yeah. So this is why I say the participation is gonna have to come from us as a people if we want to be the change that we want to see. And I'm glad you mentioned that point because Noble Jonathan, because this is exactly what I'm getting at. How we're supposed to be structured to where we should be able to house our own. People should be able to come and stay in a hostel where there's, or like a dorm room type thing, and there's multiple rooms that Moors could live on or stay in while they visit the temple. This is how the Mormons structure things. A lot of the Mormon temples live like this. A lot of Protestant temples or churches operate that way. So, like I said, if we want to be the vision that we want to see, then we got to do the work. We got to come together. Get your head out your butt. Learn how to work together business-wise. Burn out your own ego or discipline your own ego. Because if you're looking to do things that take you to the next spiritual level, you don't go there and get there by yourself. Today we have a lot of self-appointed apostles, and this is why we are in the situation that we are in. People. So we're gonna move beyond that. We gotta change the way that we look at things economically. So this is just a precursor to the type of things we're gonna be discussing for these next couple weeks here on out. But with that, we're gonna jump into our next segment. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick reset. Welcome to World Temple Branch Temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed that they may learn to love instead of hate. Come and link yourself with the family of nations by clicking that block of words at the top that says World Temple. Go ahead and click the words that say World Temple. It's going to take you to our house. Click join the house. It should let you join automatically. And also click the bell that appears on top of the page as well. That way you can get the notifications for when we go live here every Friday and or Sunday. So with that, y'all, we're going to jump right into our current events. Before we get into reading the Qur'an for tonight, our readings for El's Holy Qur'an and our holy instructions. And after that, we'll be shutting it down for the night. So the floor is open. If anybody got anything they want to add, bring to the table, anything they want to discuss, the floor is open. And don't forget what I mentioned this past week about the current events. But either way, the floor is open. True peace.
jumping in for the first time and being like, whoa, that's going the direction I wasn't expecting all that. I think this whole last week has been ego breakthroughs, more or less. So I haven't really been paying too much attention to news other than just that gold. Ego breakthroughs. I'm still have to work through my own ego when it comes to learning the whole trading mechanics and actually getting into a process and learning. There's a lot more to it than what it looks like.
Definitely not the only one, because it's a lot of psychological discipline you gotta have with trading. And I'm over here paper trading right now myself. I'm definitely. I do want to say for this week, like I said, I've been participating in treasury meetings for the Grand Major Temple, for us all to have our own treasury and structuring that. So that's some good news. And we also have another noble who's been participating in this program with the federal government, the FBI to be exact, on how they conduct their programs for investigations and things like that. And the reason, just their outlook on how they look at law enforcement. So they've been having classes on that, and one of our nobles has been a great participant of that. And we working our way up on our YouTube account. I can't say that. We is working our way up to the 700 subscribers. We almost at 1,000. Once we hit 1,000 and 2,000 hours, we'll officially be monetized for the account. So you want to go ahead and spread that YouTube page out, help us get to the monetization. And also, as I just mentioned, we're gonna be discussing economics here for the next couple of weeks, so just be prepared for that as well. Islam. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and move into our next segment, which is our Holy Quran readings for tonight. We're gonna jump into this Holy Quran. Then we left off on chapter 19 last week. Dive right on in. Pick up where we left off, and you on from there. So we're gonna start with chapter 20, 21. We're gonna stop at chapter 22 today, because 23 is kind of long, so we're gonna pick from there. As you know, we begin our prayers and thinking by using the name of the source, Allah, the Rahman, who is the most merciful. Chapter 20 called Al-Falaq. meaning the breaking forth of day, which is actually chapter 20. They changed to chapter 113. And the commentary reads, Muhammad seeks protection from the Rab of the breaking forth of day, from the disagreeableness that overspreads during the darkest part of the shadow hour, and from the satanic reptilians, sorcerers, wicked ritual of blowing disagreeable words on them, and from the Negroid, red Edomite, yellow Mongoloid, and pale Caucasian reptilians who envied us. And the ayah to read, tell them this, Muhammad, I seek protection with the Rab, who is master or sustainer and controller of the breaking forth of day, from the wickedness of that which he created, wickedness, Khalq, created, and from the wickedness that emerges from the shadow, from the darkest part of the shadow, hour, periods, overspread, and from the satanic reptilian sorcerer's wicked ritual of knotting threads and blowing wicked words on them, and from the disagreeable of those envious Enocytes like Lubain and his two daughters, Fatin and Ijaz, who did these type of things to Ahmad and those who envied us. Sudaka Allahu El Azim. So this clearly in this chapter is saying seek protection. Seek protection from those evil whispers, whether they Caucasian, melanated, Mongoloid, yellow man, black man, red man, blue man, green man, it don't matter. From those who whisper wickedness, evil, disagreeableness over you, over your family, over your community, over your lives, over your people. Seek protection from them with the divine creator. And that's also what I was just mentioning about when it comes to us economically, because we have those that speak in vain against our businesses, our structures, us setting up companies. So it's the same point being reiterated right here. The same exact point. Same exact point. So let's go ahead and dive into chapter 21. Which is called the Al-Nas, which means the Enocyte. It was originally chapter 21 and they changed it to chapter 114 in the mistranslation of the Qur'an. So as y'all know, we begin our prayers and thinking by using the name of the source, Allah, the Rahman, who is the most merciful. And the ayats read, I seek protection in, or the commentary reads, I seek protection in the Rab of the Nas, the ruler and intellectual source of all Enocytes, from the evil Nakash or Kanas, he who whispers doubt into the hearts of the Enocytes. Al-Kanas is from the Enocyte in the seed of the Jinn. So the ayats read, I seek protection in the Rab of all the Nas or Enocytes, the ruler of all Nas or Enocyte, the creative and intellectual source, Ilah of all Nas, Enocytes, the disagreeableness of the whispering reptilian Al-Kanas, Nakash of the enclosed garden of the light, He who whispers wickedness and doubt into the hearts of the Nas or Inosites and hasten to pervert them. He Al-Kanas or Nakash is from the Nas, Inosite, and from the seed of the Jinn, disagreeable, malevolent beings, Elohim, Anunnaki. Surika Allahu El Azim. So chapter 21 is reiteration of chapter 20. So this is your protection supplication. When you seek protection, these are scriptures that you can refer to. Those are scriptures that you can refer to. All right, so let's jump into chapter 22, which is called Al-Ikhlas, which means the pure faith. It was originally chapter 22, and they changed it to chapter 112. So as y'all know, we begin our prayers and thinking by using the name of the source, Allah, Man, who is the most merciful. Commentary reads, Nusku swore by the Najm that fell from the skies. He is of the companion of Muhammad and all other news bearers. It says, Michael speaks in Nusku. Gabriy'El does not speak from his power. Our Qur'an is nothing but wahy, which means inspiration. Gabriy'El was taught the Qur'an by the Sharid. Gabriy'El came to Muhammad in Mount Hur or Hur. Gabriy'El was two calls from him. Gabriy'El inspired Allah's Abd. And the ayat reads, am I missing something here, y'all? Oh. Oh, okay. I read that all wrong. That was the commentary for chapter 23. So the commentary for chapter 22 is Yahuwah, Allah is alone. Allah is Al-Samad. Neither mother nor father has he, nor has he conceived a mortal son. He has no equal. All right, in the ayat read, Muhammad, tell them, the Meccans, Yahuwah or Yahweh is the source, Allah, Ahad, who is alone. The source Allah needs nothing, for he is Al-Samad, has no deficiency. Neither mother nor father has he, and he was not conceived by a sexual intercourse of any two mortal beings, nor did he conceive an individual mortal walad, son, and no one is kufuwan, equal to him. Surika Allahu El Azim. All right. So that's why it says alone is Allah and he has no partners, which is basically talking about El Kalum, the all, the source. There's nothing equal to the all other than all. All is. Where would you get it? You wanted to add to the all. And where would you take it from to add to the all? Because what is outside of all? So this is another way and point to intercept the point about it's going to take us as a people to do the work that we have been called to do, and the work, the sacred house that we are establishing in order to separate ourselves from those that are caught up in the whispers of the disagreeable, those that are stuck in their reptilian mindset, reptilian art complex of their brain, to where we can manifest the things that we need to manifest in a powerful manner. Eventually, you will have those, as we had before, try to work of the art complex, try to work their way in, but they won't be able to stay for long because the work that we're doing is too complicated, requires too much discipline, and is in tune with the divine creator. We had 3 more people come in. I did not see. All right. I'm not sure who that was, but happy holiday to you all that got through. All right, all right, all right. So we're gonna jump into our next segment here for tonight, which is our holy instruction. Change the link at the top of the room. Gonna dive right on in. Holy instruction. All right, y'all. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a infestation. Mosquitoes. I'm not used to mosquitoes. So we're gonna change the link at the top of the room, y'all. Cool. Go ahead and get into these holy instructions. So you can join us by clicking the link that's pinned here at the top of the room. Go ahead and enroll if you haven't already. I'm gonna see if I can get Dr. Grease to come do a segment on how important, or the importance of food is. So today we went over our civic education, which is the study of theoretical, political, and practical aspects of citizenship and the duties and civic law, civil law, and civil code from the standpoint of economics, and the attention to the roles of citizens as opposed to the external factors in the operation of government. All right, so we also went over civic virtues, which is the cultivation of our habits or customs, traditions, and their importance for the success of a community. And more importantly, our economic habits today. We also went over our civic engagement, which is how we come together to address issues of public concern. We discussed that a bit here. Well, or just reiterated those points. So as you know, Friday is the holy day, O you who know. When the call is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave off business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of God and celebrate the praises of God of 10 and without stint, that ye may prosper. All chaplaincy, temple services, and meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on the Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause Friday is the holy day. For that cause Friday is our holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world. This is according to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws by the Prophet Noble Ali, which states all temples and supporting temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for Friday holy day temple service and meeting. On Fridays, the Moorish American, Moorish Asian, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The temple services are open according to divine love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will temples, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the holy day temple service. Nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicant. All temples, adepts, and civilians attending the holy day service must have their heads covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual covering. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple or during temple service. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is mandatory, and all Moorish nationals, templars, and temple denizens must promptly attend the temple service and send their children to the Sunday school gatherings. The teacher must conform himself and herself to the Temple 101 questionnaire and let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation, and now the entire global village. According to Act 5 of the additional laws by the Prophet Noble Ali, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school gatherings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by a director of the Children's Sunday School program. The Sunday school gathering is designed to assist the temple in learning the Temple 101, questionnaires, and developing an understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The Divine Constitution and Bylaws, along with the Moorish Prayer, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, and the civic editions or lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subjects of major concern for the apprentice who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for the adult Sunday school gathering must be prepared by a Grand Sheik or Divine Minister or an Assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us Novites editions may be submitted to the apprentice for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members' temple district file. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy teachings of the Prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting along with the basic temple literature and assignment. No templars or patron is to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All templars must attend their Sunday temple service and meeting as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meeting. Both were called out for by the Prophet Noble Ali and is required as a matter of temple law. According to the Divine Constitution, Act 7 in part, all templars must promptly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts for the Moorish Science of America, and now also Moorish Science Temple of Africa and Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and enjoining World Islands on behalf of all indigenous people. For membership, any heads of temple of all temple jurisdictions are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cars, buttons, or anything issued by and through the Prophet. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors, civilians, or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free, not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must follow these instructions from the temple secretary and acquire the application for naturalization, which can be found on the link that we had pinned at the top just a second ago at holytemple.org. The secretary of the temple's jurisdiction will help all newcomers by explaining the naturalization affidavit and application for membership in the temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust to the new prospective civilian of the temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the royal council of said temple or subordinate temple. The royal chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the royal council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the royal council's consultation at the newcomers gathering, or Sunday school gathering on Sunday, the new Templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming holy day, temple gathering. After the new civilian prospect proclaims his or her nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows, and in accordance with chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Qur'an, called Egypt the capital dominion of the Empire of Africa. Chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'an, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, the Moorish Prayer, including the one-on-one Qur'an questions for Moorish Americans, Asians, and Africans, the divine constitution and bylaws, the additional laws, and the precepts, statutes, and ordinances from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, the Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets, through our Civics 101 course in the Global Interdependent School District and Sacred Halls of Learning, which is called New University, by us of the Holy Temples of Moorish Science, for everyone of the global village. Once a new civilian or template has learned these additions or lessons verbatim, or to the best of their ability, he or she will be interviewed by the Temple's Royal Council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian, Muslim, or any indigenous peacemaker, and communicated to the ignorant for their instructions, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian has cleared the mandatory requirements with the Royal Council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister of said subordinate. Right, y'all? So it's just that simple. And understanding how to proclaim your nationality. And we read over these instructions, these holy instructions, every week. So y'all should have these locked down, especially those that are here consistently in their participation. So when I say reach out and touch somebody's hand, it should be easy for you to explain how easy it is to get involved and proclaim your nationality. Especially them people that you see walking down the path of sovereign citizenship, patriotism, and all these other things, because they have an avenue where they can learn true civics. True civics. Be a part of a real governmental body that has public and lawful acknowledgement, that gives them certain immunities and privileges that they think they get being a stateless person, a political refugee, and all these other factors and titles that they end up bestowing upon themselves when they adopt a certain mentality and thinking about the law and how it functions. So with that, we're going to jump into our nationality procedure, which we call the Holy Shahada, which will be held on Holy Day for all civilians, denizens, templars, peacemakers, for Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian or template will be ordained in El, Bay, or Day, and given his or her royal peerage title of Ken, Honorable, Lady, Noble, Nan, Naya, Prince or Princess by a Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister, and also receive his or her nationality card and button from the Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple. Upon conclusion of the nationality proclamation, the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian, template, and temple prospect stand while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is by virtue of the Religious Corporation Act document that can be found in Herod's revised statutes that gives the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, Africa, and all world islands, and give them the title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik and Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state, Allah is God, and Noble Draw Ali the Prophet, and I am Moorish American, African, and or Asian, and or world islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith, or Shahada, and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or Templar's free national name should then be added to the Temple's Book of Life as they enroll in the Civics 101 course in our complimentary World Civics Club. The nationality ceremony should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister or any other Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed bearing the name and title of the Grand Sheik or divine minister who issued the application and card and the date of issuance. The Religious Corporation Act is deemed the Global Interdependent School District and the Incorporated and Chartered Moorish Science Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming the global nucleus. All right, y'all. So with that, we're going to inch close toward our closing for the night. We're going to jump into this mandatory literature from the prophet. Get our last contribution. We're going to close it out for tonight. I don't know about y'all, but I know where I'm at, mosquitoes are hecka bad. And they out here running in packs for some reason. Mosquitoes gangbanging tonight. They out here whipping the ass. Excuse my French. They are whipping butt tonight. But we're going to jump into the mandatory literature from the prophet. Close it out for the night. So first, I want to go ahead and jump into the message that the prophet has for the members of the temple. These are actual instructions. Prophet. For the members of the temple. Islam. Prophet says, be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on. But the weak can comprehend it not. And the time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I know Ali, and that is why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear. Least they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving and trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temple. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. True peace, your divine prophet. With that, next I want to go ahead and extend the olive branch to those that need a home. Like I said, for those that have been here consistently, y'all here and should have those holy instructions embedded within you by now. And as you can see, we operate with the same original ancient and divine creed, and every temple should be strong based on how these holy instructions are conveying. Every temple should be strong with men, strong men and women in the divine faith. But as I said, we have failed in the past. So a lot of what the temple has been doing up to today has been a lot of religious fanatic things of that nature. But as it's been prophesied, us new Moors will come in with our eyes wide open, knowing what to do. And that we do. Moving forward, we should understand that we're not just regular people, we're royal people. People want certain privileges and immunities that belong to certain classes or political statuses of people. But you can say certain classes or political classes of people. And at the end of the day, we accept this fact that we got to respect that. We got to respect the way they operate. Agree with your adversary quickly. Remain in honor. As much as people brag about operating and utilizing the uniform commercial code, that's the one thing that they forget, is being in honor. It's being agreeable. It don't mean be docile, but it means to be agreeable. So for those that need a temple home, spiritual home, a place to call home, we're extending the olive branch to you from here, from branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a globally chartered and incorporated temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed. You can join us by clicking that block of words at the top that says World Temple. I'm going to go into the message that the prophet has for you all tonight. The prophet speaks to the nations. In this next piece of literature, the prophet states, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race because you will know who you are and your forefathers. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. Some good people, because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is an open field to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish National Divine Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. This is what was meant when it says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you by the prophet. All right, y'all, so we're going to get into these last mandatory messages from the prophet, get our last contributions, close it out for the night with our Moorish prayer. So with that, I'm going to change the link at the top of the room. Like I say, y'all go ahead and reach out, put your hands out, reach out, touch somebody that needs this information. This movement is open to strong men and women from whatever background. This is a safe haven from those that are seeking refuge from the shaitans in their life, the evil whisperers, the negative. When you understand the jurisdiction of your spiritual body, politically and politics, and you understand more in-depthly why we convey the message of being structured as a royal court via that holy family, which is a royal family, as mentioned throughout all sacred texts. Those that tune into the message, like Yahshua said, I'm about my Father's work. So this is why today's message was about that work, that economic work that needs to be done. And we all need to be gathered here to do that work. So there will be more things that are being implemented, as I mentioned, in today's current events. If you want to get involved, you can reach out to me on the back channel. But as I said, we have to delegate some of the things that need to be done. So if I had 15 different bodies, maybe a lot more things would be getting done. But me just being one person, that means it's going to take those that hear the message and the call from their grand sheik and take up that divine calling. So with that, we're going to jump into these mandatory messages from the prophet. And like I said, get our last contribution, close it out tonight. The prophet said, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the street. We're for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card at Europeans and causing confusion. Remember, your call is for your salvation. Fail to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deed. All true Moors will and must obey the laws as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Zabuwr, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. True peace, Zabuwr. Right, y'all. So get into this last mandatory message. We can get into our contributions, our last contributions for tonight. Prophet want us to claim this at every temple meeting and temple service. Islam. Prophet states, I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation, as American citizens, they'll work at every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world would not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my work, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Zabuwr. All right, y'all. So we're gonna jump into this Moorish prayer. Close us out tonight. Anybody got any last contributions? Anything they want to share? Put the temple on notice about. Go ahead and do so. The floor is open. Give y'all some time to come back to your mic. After that, we're gonna close out with prayer. True peace, Islam.
True peace. I'm actually kind of going on about the whole hostile idea. I feel like a lot of the bigger ideas will start forming if people get together in person. A lot of these digital communications sometimes lack that depth that meeting in person actually does. I don't know if maybe some type of event or gathering. I know we're a long way off before. I think there was the ether cards that were kind of an idea that was being put out there for the temple and the nominee sovereign coin. And like just looking at the way that people could be able to host people, you know, and then you also have these hotels that already are hosting people based on the, you know, whatever currency that state or country is operating in.
Right.
But somehow there should be an interplay, you know, where some of these companies can also offer, for those who know that they offer that the ability to stay there in use of the sovereign coin or the nominee, however that's worked out. And I'm still trying to understand, you know, the different uses of coins and why you would have different uses of coins. But what I guess I'm still kind of trying to figure out, like, the nominee or that aspect of the currency isn't a tradable asset, right? It's supposed to be more of a static, positionary form of currency, is I guess how I'm looking at it. I don't know if that's correct or not.
Well, nominee is just the benchmark, like the dollar, the DXY. So nominee is pretty much like the same thing, but from a global standpoint.
So it should be, right? Like the private, you know, if someone, like, you know, there was a website a little while back that was talking about people being able to pay some money to camp out in people's backyards. I don't know if they were running it based on a business or like an Airbnb, but they kind of, I guess you can get PayPal payments or whatever to make it legit. But it all kind of seems like it's these pieces of different ideas of puzzle pieces that have been put together, but there's not an actual, like you mentioned this evening, you know, it doesn't have that focus and that actual ability to, you know, there's a lot of work carving out a road in a forest, paving pathways, and you know, just piecing pieces together and saying, oh yeah, we're on a path, isn't necessarily the same as actually knowing what tools you're using and working in a way that's actually clearing out in a way that has that 7-year regenerative and longevity in perspective. So just throwing that out there as the last sentiments on it. Still kind of curious too about how it all works.
If you're familiar with Bitcoin, that's pretty much it.
Simple. That's probably I'm overthinking it then.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of why a lot of the stagnation is there, because people, you know, spend that time trying to figure that out when that's not necessarily needed. If you understand how Bitcoin works, then you understand how these coins work or the smart contracts work, because they're nothing but replicas of, like I said, the dollar benchmark with nominee, and then the other coins that we have, which are issuances for that local nation or whatever. And so it all operates on the same macro micro economic system through the world index that we have. So it's carving and paving going on, but if you want the path to be, you know, like you mentioned, to be more clear cut out, then it's going to take help from others to start cutting and paving out the pathway. And that are kind of like what we discussed last week, where it's just, you know, you got a whole crowd full of people watching injustice take place, and they're just sitting there not taking action. And as we know, the saying is, um, you know, the great saying in philosophy goes, well, you know, if you want a place of injustice, you know, you just have men sit back and watch quietly and not say nothing. So that, you know, that causes that you know, that type of stagnation that we've been experiencing. It's not that the work is not being done, but if we want to speed things up, like with the Ethernet card and, you know, produce those kind of things, then, like I said, it's going to take for us as a community to put in the work, be economically sound, be economically present, participant in the works. So whether if you're trading or, you know, investing, building startups, acquisitions, don't matter. But it's still going to take that presence and the participation. Like the last message I just read from the prophet, stating, you know, we need funds. We need economics. Those that invest and have the ability and the means to put in, they should be putting in. Things should not be dependent upon, just a couple people in the congregation or in the community. And, it's when they build it, then we gonna come. That's not gonna work that way. This is not a startup. This is a community. So it's gonna take participation from all in the community to make these things happen. So with that, we're gonna jump into our prayer for tonight. I appreciate all of the contributions, the shares, the time. Y'all can be anywhere in the world, but y'all here with me, Grand Sheik, Dr. Lawiy. So let's jump into tonight's Moorish prayer. And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all time, the rest of y'all Friday. Hope y'all enjoy your time with your family. Enjoy the rest of y'all holy day. And we're gonna call it a night. Like I said, be prepared for next week, these next coming weeks, because we will be diving more into economics and discussing economics much, much further, especially from a scriptural reference standpoint, and waking it up. So as y'all know how it goes. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Zabuwr Ali. Amen. True peace, Yahweh. Do. Hua.